Okay, so Darren Chang again. I'm here to review another bag by Mountainsmith. I feel like I do a lot of Mountainsmith bags here. This bag is called the Endeavor, and it's actually a camera bag more than anything else. So it's primarily marketed as a camera bag, but clearly I see it as a perfect crossover situation here because it's a camera bag that can hold a lot of things that a typical briefcase would be able to hold, some business essentials, etc. Like all Mountainsmith bags, it's a pretty well put together bag, and it's made out of good stout materials and such. So really what it comes down to is design here. Is it sort of the thing that works? And you can see here that it looks a lot like the bags that I'm more interested in these days, which are these soft-sided briefcases as opposed to messenger bags that have the flap that go over the top. There's just something about this that makes it a lot more accessible to me in terms of being able to pull things out and put things in when I don't have to deal with a big flap that goes over it. Not to mention the fact that 90% of the time those flaps have Velcro, and you know how I can't stand Velcro. Just to give you a sense of the size of this bag, it's actually much more compact than you can probably tell. And just to sort of give you a sense of how compact it is, here is the Patagonia Transport 26 liter. And if you take a look at these two things side by side, you can see right away that the 26 liter Patagonia is a couple inches taller, and it's actually also a couple inches wider, so you can see that it extends beyond here. I'm not sure if the angle of the camera is allowing you to see this, but clearly this entire Patagonia bag could eclipse essentially the Mountainsmith. So it's a pretty compact bag. Now, obviously one of the problems you have with a compact bag is, can you actually fit everything that you want to have it fit? And we'll see. Let's start off with the front here. You can see that there are two pockets in the front. These are organizer pockets. And in the first one here, you can see that it's got a small zippered mesh pocket, a couple of dividers or 3 dividers for pens, another couple of small pockets here into which you could put credit cards, I would assume, a mesh pocket here where I've chosen to put my iPhone. There's a key fob here as well. And then there's a stash pocket back here where I've decided to put my sunglasses. I'm not sure if this is really the ideal place because, frankly, I feel like my glasses could get sort of damaged with all the pressure associated with this pocket. The pockets are pretty tight. They look like they bulge out of the bag, but in fact they are sort of competing for space. And so a lot of the stuff that's in the middle compartment is pushing out against and filling and taking up the volume of some of these outer pockets here. That is, you'll see an issue because you can't do much about what's in here. I'll explain that shortly. Notice one thing here, and this is something I talked about actually in the written portion here. This zipper zips in this direction, okay? So it's going from your perspective, it's going from left to right. And the problem with that is that means you have to actually, to get into this thing, to this pocket, you have to go around 2 right angles. And you know that no zippers are great about going around right angles. They get sort of hung up in that process. And they get hung up in the process of zipping it back again. They always get a little bit stuck. I'm not quite sure why Mountainsmith didn't decide to make this zipper go in the other direction, because then all you have to do is bring it up past one of these 90-degree angles to get access to here. Instead, they decided to make it as difficult as they possibly could. Another alternative would have been to do what they did here on this larger pocket, which is to have 2 different zippers so that you can go either direction, whatever is most comfortable for you. All right, so let's take a look at this larger pocket here. You can see it unzips in a similar way. It doesn't unzip all the way, but enough that you can certainly fairly easily get access to the contents of this organizer pocket. And again, you have a zippered mesh pocket, and I've chosen to keep my portable hard drive, dongles, and cables in here. There's another elastic-topped mesh pocket here. I don't have anything in there at the moment. Just behind that, I have an open-topped slide-in pocket. I've chosen to put my wallet in there. And then a larger pocket into which I put my iPad mini, and it's actually big enough to be able to fit a full-size iPad as well. But again, as I said moments ago, then you're going to be really hurting for space here, because you can already probably see that the middle compartment is encroaching on these smaller outer compartments here. It would have been really nice had Mountainsmith just decided to give these pockets here another ½ inch of space, or maybe some gusseting down the middle. Another thing you'll see here, and it's pretty tight, but there is a slash pocket here held with my favorite, Velcro, and I've chosen just to toss my keys into this area so that I have easy access to my keys. Jam it in there. It's really tight in here, and you can see here that I really haven't put a lot of stuff into here, and yet it's incredibly tight. We have here a couple of handles which allow you to be able to pick up and hold the bag, and it stays centered. It's a nice situation. When they're split like this, you can use the back handle to hang this bag against the wall, and it stays flush up against the wall. It's a nice design there. And then we have our shoulder strap, and it does have a small pad here to sort of spread the weight. It's not the greatest pad. In fact, it's a little bit pathetic. And it doesn't have any sort of friction on it to keep it from sliding off. So it's actually a little bit slippery on your shoulder, frankly. It is completely removable, so it's easy enough just to pop this thing off on both sides. And let's take a look at the sides of the bag. You can see it's a pretty thick bag. And there's nothing on this side, but on this side, it's one of the best features of this bag. Actually, let me just slow down for a moment. You can see that this bag lists a little bit in this direction. And that's mainly, again, because the laptop pocket has such structure to it that it sort of forces it upward. So it's basically putting a lot of pressure on the bag down here, so it tips it towards this direction. Okay, so let's back to this pocket here. You'll see that there is a slash pocket on the side, but it has a zipper on it. And this is a great zipper because when you undo it, it opens up to a full-size water bottle holder. And you could fit in a full giant-sized Nalgene into this thing. It's a little shallow, but it certainly is workable. I love this feature. In fact, I have this feature on the crossover day pack that I've chosen, the ECBC Lance, and it's one of the best parts of the bag. So it's one of the best parts of this bag as well. Okay, so don't forget that this is a camera bag, but it doesn't have to be a camera bag. This could be something that you could use as your business brief if you wanted to. But let's take a look at the camera section here. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the zipper here is right up close to these outside pockets, these front pockets. The problem with that design is it does make it a little bit hard to open up this bag. It gets a little caught right here. It gets really stuck in trying to open it up. Had Mountainsmith decided to move the zipper back and it didn't compete with this edge here, it would have been a lot easier to open and close that zipper. So it's a little shame that they decided to mount the zipper so far forward. Not to mention the fact that when you do that, when you mount it very far forward, you now have this shelf here that you need to get past in order to get into your camera or whatever gear that you might have inside this section. So now you can see here, this is the camera insert. And I've loaded my camera into this. Unfortunately, my camera insert is actually too fat to fit into this section. So I had to go with the one that Mountainsmith provided, which is a lot longer, but also a lot narrower. Excuse me. This can be completely removed. So if you're not going to use it as a camera bag, you can sort of put it off to the side, and that gives you a really good sized area in here to volume to put a whole bunch of stuff. And notice too that it's bright yellow so that you can easily see anything in there. And along this wall, there is, held by Velcro, an open file pocket in the interior, so you can put file folders in there. And it's against a wall that's got a foam padding for structure, so it'll keep your file folders nice and flat. And then you can see here, I have two zippered mesh pockets at the top as well. Ostensibly, these would probably be used for batteries for your camera, or maybe temporarily where you would put your lens cap if you were shooting. You can see that without that camera insert, the bag becomes a heck of a lot more compact. And more importantly, these out here become a lot easier to deal with. There's a lot more room, and it's a lot easier to pack things into here if you don't have the camera insert there. So the problem with this camera insert is that it has a lot of structure to it. I mean, this is a stiff structure, so even when it's not filled, it's pushing out against anything that might be in these two pockets here, creating issues there. It's basically a battle between the contents that are in the middle section and the contents that are in these outer pockets as well. So I'm just going to leave this out for now. Zip it up. The bag still sort of has structure to it. If I let it go, however, it's going to flop over without that camera insert, and that's because I have a laptop in the back here. So let's take a look at this laptop section. It does not unzip all the way as if it were a TSA-friendly thing, but that's okay. I don't think that's too big a deal. And I can fit in easily a 15-inch MacBook Pro here. That's all there is in here, bright yellow and everything, but there are no sort of pockets or file folder pockets in here at all. It's just entirely for your computer, and it's a good inch thick, so you could put a really fat computer into here if you needed to. Just outside of this area, and I wonder if this now stays upright on its own. Probably not. Yeah. So now it's even worse because I have all the weight in the front and nothing in the back. But along this back area, you'll see that I have two different areas here. If you look at this area right here that I just pulled out with this yellow tab, this is one of those sleeves that allows you to slip this over the handle of your rolling luggage when you're going through the airport. But just inside of that, also held back with a piece of Velcro, is a big open top file folder pocket, and would easily accommodate file folders or a magazine or whatever it is that you might have to entertain you before you get on the plane. So that's a really nice design there. So really, it's a great bag. It's just a little bit too tight is what it comes down to. And I suppose if you're someone who's not going to carry a big camera, you could potentially squeeze that into this space with a smaller bag. It does have a padded bottom, and it's padded on either side, so you might be able to get away with just tossing a camera in there without that dividing section, and that would give you a lot more room as well. But it is odd because obviously this is designed as a camera bag, so the fact that it actually has a hard time serving as a camera bag because of this camera insert makes it less than ideal from my perspective. Okay, there you go, there you have it. I hope this review helps and you have a sense of what this bag has to offer. And don't forget to look at my other videos before you buy. Good night.